Hi, and welcome. We created this space for people from all walks of life to come together and share their powerful testimonies, life stories, and personal journeys. Whether you're a teenager navigating life or 50 and fabulous, this channel is for you. Our goal is to create a warm, open, and inspiring community where every voice matters. We believe that through sharing stories, healing can happen, and you just might find a story that speaks directly to you. So sit back, relax, and connect with our amazing guests. We're so glad to have you here. Enjoy!
Have our lovely Renata here.
Hello.
How are you going?
I'm good.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, everyone calls me by my full name, so nothing new. Uh, Peruvian. Both my parents were born in Peru. I was born here. Complex family as well. My mom, like my older sister's my half sister on my mom's side. That was just from like young relationship that mom had, and with her and my dad together, they had me and my little sister. Yeah, not much else. Like everyone's, I don't have a lot of family here. It's more like my immediate family. It was always like just my mom, dad, and my sisters. And then my grandma eventually came on my dad's side. And then only like, I think 2 years ago, like quite recent, my dad's sister came.
Oh, wow.
But all my mom's family's like all over the United States, all over Peru. Same with my dad, like
Big
with the
family.
extended,
Yeah.
They're all over there.
So I obviously know a bit about you because I obviously know who you are. And one thing that, I really love about you is your strength. Like you have a lot of strength, even though you may not think so. You are such a strong girl. And one thing that we wanted to shine a light on this Lounge Talk podcast, whatever it is things that we struggle being a Christian. Just being a Christian doesn't mean like it's all, walk in the park. What is something that you have gone through that you have struggled with and how you dealt with that? And pretty much like, yeah, just go with that and then
Yeah,
we'll go
no,
off
that's
that.
okay. I would say, like, well, it sounds dark, but like death.
Not dark at all.
More like on my mum's side, there was a genetic mutation that, like, I think my great grandmother started with, and then it went to like my grandmother and her sisters, and then my mum and her older sister, and then, well, hoping it doesn't go any further. But basically, when it started hitting me more, the mutation and the effect it had on my family when my auntie first passed away. That was back in 2009, so like a while ago. I was little, but it affected my older sister because I was her godmother and they were very close. And my cousin, he was so little, like we're the same age, same date, like probably a few hours apart, like everything. But he was so little when it happened, and just me going through it, like with my mom, like I could not have imagined like how he went through it, like at 7. And then it didn't like impact me as much. Like obviously I was upset about it, but I didn't know her very well, being only like 6-7 years old. It hit me more when my grandmother passed away. I was very close with her, and that was the year before my mum passed away. Yeah, so like, and her sisters, like they were a year after each other as well. Like it was my great auntie in 2018, my grandma 2019, and then my mum's godmother was a month before my mum had passed away, all from the same thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when my grandmother had passed away, that's when my mum and I kind of got closer. But mum had been fighting cancer for a very long time. Like I think I was 10, 11. She had it when I was little, but then they told her that it just went away, like it got better after treatments, but then it came back. And that's when it got worse because she was apparently already at like stage 3. But she lost like it was years after they told her a million things, like, you're not, like, it's going to be like a few years, it's going to be a few months, like, you can try this, you can try that. She was in different trials. She had done like radiotherapy, chemotherapy. She did this new one that they're still testing out, like hormone therapy or something. What, it wasn't really the, like, I wouldn't say the death is what broke me the most. It's what my mom, her changes is what broke me the most. Because there was a time where she didn't think she could do it anymore after her mom had passed away. And her losing her hair, her seeing us upset, like
Yeah.
her not, she didn't want to ever tell like me and my little sister about anything. My older sister knew everything that was happening, which I wish I knew about, because then I felt like completely in the dark about it. But it was tough. Like, she had good days and she had bad days, and it was only us three at home. But when she, like, when she had gotten worse and it was like more like in months now, like in and out of hospital, I was more just angry. I wasn't really thinking about anything else. I was more just angry, like, why is she getting worse? Why is this happening? Why can't, like you hear those miracle stories of people like battling cancer for ages and then boom, out of nowhere, like they're fine again. And it's like, oh, or you hear those really like sucky stories of people that have never like touched a cigarette in their life, never drank, but then they've got lung cancer. And it's like, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I was like, I, growing up in a Catholic school, I didn't know exactly what to ever pray for or how to really have a relationship with God. Like the most she was the only thing I ever prayed for. Like every time we did like communion or mass and we had like that little moment after like taking the Eucharist, it was like, that's all I prayed for. Like, please just give her more time with me.
Yeah.
Anything. Good day, better month, anything, please. Like, and I didn't know if he was listening because I didn't know much about him. But I remember when she passed, I got angrier because it was more like I was zoned out. Like I completely checked out when she passed away in life. Like I still went to school like normal, like nothing had happened, and everyone's there like like giving me their condolences and everything, and I was like, it's fine. Like, it's okay. Like, and I just spoke to everybody like normal. Like I didn't want anyone to talk to me about my mom. And even at home, like my older sister used to get so upset with me because she was like, why don't you talk? Like, why don't you talk about this stuff? Like, you know, it's bad to keep it inside. And I was like, because I don't feel like talking.
Yeah.
Like, what's it going to do? It's not bringing her back. And I don't know, like I was just angry at God. I was angry at like the doctors. I was angry at everything. Like, nothing can bring her back though. And it took me years to get over that, years to get over that. And I remember I even tried seeking out like other types of faith, like the universe and stuff like that, just to give me some sort of peace. Like I was constantly angry. Things made me anxious all the time. Like I remember one time at school, I got so anxious I was shaking in my hands. And my teacher took me out, brought me a little punching bag, and she was just holding it there for me. And I was like, are you sure? Like, is this legal? Is this weird? Like, am I abusing you? And she was like, no, let it out. Let it out. You need this more than anybody. Let it out. And I was year 12. And HSC was just a whole other thing that I had to deal with at the same time. So I was like, I gave up on HSC. I think I had just passed. It was like 50 something on my ATAR.
Still pass. Got a bachelor's degree now.
That was prelims. But no, year 12 was like its own roller coaster. I kind of took the approach to just distract myself as much as possible and not think about her, not mourn properly. So I went out a lot. I partied. I hung out with friends. We planned like to hang out on the weekend. And then even the year after, same thing. And it was even worse when I was 18 because it was just,
Freedom.
yep, I'm 18 now. I can go clubbing. I can get out there. I can drink. I can like just do whatever I want. I don't have to think about stuff. And what hit me was, I remember it was New Year's that year. I had had too much to drink. And all I was thinking about was my mum. And I cried a lot. But I was very intoxicated, and I remember like this one picked me up and I was just in a pool of like my tears and vomit, and it was disgusting. And I told myself the day after I was never going to let myself get that way again. And still not being, this is very vulnerable of me, oh my gosh, still not really trying to reach out to God. I think it was, I still like stuck with like anything else that kind of gave me some sort of peace. I didn't touch alcohol for a very long time, mind you. Like I was very like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm so ashamed of myself. It's so embarrassing. No. And I remember it was weird, dude, like, because obviously that during that time I remember like I had just started like dating. Like I had avoided anyone completely. It was just strictly like friends, family, go out, do whatever I want to do. And I remember there was one really bad date I had. And he was Christian. Like he was so nice to me and everything, but like I just wasn't feeling it. I was very out of it. I was probably just having a bad day, but the way he was talking about like God and everything, it kind of just got me thinking like, if I went back, would I be like this? Like would I be like this? He seems really happy. Like he seems like nice to talk to and everything, but I felt so bad because I just wasn't connecting with him. And I remember like, I think that night I made a prayer and I told I asked like, if you can please bring me, like I made a prayer to say like, I'm going to work on me and solely just focus on me, but please, if you can give me some sort of peace or someone that can bring me that peace, I'm all yours. I'm going to come find you. I'm all yours. And I remember not long after, that's when Daniel came into the picture. And he's stuck here with me. But I remember like telling him all about it and everything. And he was the one that mainly spoke to me a lot about like God. Because mind you, he grew up in a Catholic church as well. Like he went to Catholic school. So we both like, but none of our parents went to church or really spoke about God. And he knew like I still had a lot of stuff to deal with mum, and even myself. Like I was a very anxious person, and my relationship with my mum, I wouldn't say it was the best. Towards the end it got better, but it wasn't for the first 16 years that I had her. But I remember like with him, just things got so much easier, and he pushed me to talk about stuff. He pushed me to like woman, like tell me what's going on, tell me what you're thinking, why are you overthinking, talk to me about your mom, like tell me all this stuff. And even with my sisters, like my younger one was so isolated with her thoughts, and we started talking more. And then my older sister, like we started talking to her more about stuff, and it got better. And I remember the following year, I was still quite anxious. And I remember like bringing it up with Tamara mainly. Because I didn't know who else to talk to. And like every time I've ever spoken with her, she's never been judgy. She's always like just on board with whatever I've got to say. She's like, go for it. Tell me, what's up? And I vented to her. And I remember the first time she told me to pray. I didn't know how to pray. The only thing I knew how to pray for was for mom, and I was like, the heck do I pray for now? Like, and she was like, pray for your relationship, pray for your family, pray for whatever, like, just pray. And I tried, but then you know, I still felt that kind of way, and I went to her again. And I remember she was like, try reading some stuff out of the Bible, and like she gave me like random scriptures. I remember you told me about it was I can do all things through Christ, and the I cast all my fears and anxieties onto him.
I like that one.
And I was like, could I use that in my prayer? Like, would that be fine? She's like, yeah, like it's all Bible, like
Yeah.
it's fine. But it still kept going. And I was like, I feel like nothing's working. Like, I don't know what to do. And mind you, I remember at the same time, like, Daniel was talking to me more about God, but I wasn't really paying attention. I remember, like, I was very, like, I wasn't very open to the idea of, like, having that conversation because I wasn't comfortable with my relationship with God.
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't go back because I already got upset with him. I already pushed him away. Like, he doesn't want me. Like, I just, like, all I could hope for is that my mum made it up there.
Yeah.
That's it. But no, he even said, like, we don't know anything, but we could have, I'm sure, like, he would, like, it's good to have that relationship with him. I'm sure, like, if we tried talking about it, it would make you open to going back to him. And I was like, but I never felt that relationship in the first place. I felt like he probably just saw me just praying for my mom, like just hoping for the best. And I remember during that time, The Chosen was recently on Netflix, and Daniel was like, we have to watch this. I was like, oh, but I feel like I'm not gonna like it. Like, I know the Gospels, I know most of the parables. Like, I remember half of them. Like, the school I went to, like, it's a parable written in itself. And he was like, please, just watch it, please, for me. And I was like, okay. I watched one episode. I was bawling my eyes out. And then I remember from that, I approached her again, and she invited me to go to church with her. I remember we went KMC, yeah. It was like towards the end of 2023, and she invited Daniel and I, and he was on board. He was like, let's go. New church, let's go. Very overwhelming first day. We both remember the first day like it was yesterday, because it slapped both of us in the face. Like, God was like, I'm right here. I'm here. The first thing I remember Pastor Harvey was talking about was do not fear him. And I was like, oh my goodness, who told him? Who told him? Oh my goodness.
Tam, you telling Paul?
I was like, who told him?
Yeah.
And I looked at Daniel straight away, and he was like, oh my goodness. And then I remember further down the track, he was talking about addiction. And like, he brought in like gambling, and Daniel like felt like that slap in the face as well, because he obviously had his own stuff that he was going through as well. And he, mind you, like, he probably has had like, I guess we've all seen the miracle, but I remember what drew him closer to God was he prayed like once after like gambling for a sign that he's hearing him. And I had called him, and I remember that weekend we were supposed to go out, and the plan was like the girl, her birthday, it was to go to the Star Casino and then to go to a club. I told him I wasn't feeling it. I wanted to stay home. He took that as a sign, and he was like, okay, I'm on board.
Yeah.
But that first day at like church, it was crazy, and we both still remember it so clearly. And I remember I was still quite hesitant with everything. And I remember coming up to George about it because it was something that had been on my mind for ages. And I had even asked him, I'm like, look, I'm not upset with God. Like, I get death happens. And I guess, like, it doesn't matter the age. Like, maybe it just happens because it needs to, because there's other plans in store. And unfortunately, that person did their time. But I had asked him, like, how do you, like, because in the Catholic Church, they obviously talk about if you're baptized, boom, you're going into heaven. That's why they do it as a baby, give you that reassurance. but when I brought it up with him, I was like, is that the same here? Because I don't understand it properly. And he was like, I can't reassure you where she went because she obviously believed in
Yeah.
the Catholic faith. And she went to church, she did. But I remember like we didn't go because she was like, oh no, like let them sleep in, or we usually stayed over at my dad's place. But I remember like he was like, the most I can reassure you with is that your relationship with him is only going to get better.
Yeah.
You need to just trust everything he's doing. And I remember like not long after, that's when I chose to get baptized. And the Bible studies made me feel a lot better about things, especially what's his name? Joseph?
Yep. Story of Joseph.
The story of Joseph made me feel 10 million times better about my life.
Yeah.
Because all I thought was like, okay, I'm complaining, and I'm nothing like. Obviously, I still mourn to this day.
Yeah.
But everything he went through, like,
Yeah.
at least my sisters didn't dump me down a well and just leave me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she can deal with it. She's fine.
Yeah.
And then meet me a few years later, and then somehow I'm queen. Like, it's not like that. But it was. I can't compare everybody's pain with my own. I know, like, it's hard because I still get sad to this day. Like, yesterday was her 5-year anniversary. And at work, oh gosh, another thing. Like, I'm at this new job, and the main focus was around what to do with the deceased person, like work in a social house. And all I thought was like, oh my gosh, of course this is the topic of today. Like, and I was already like a little zoned out, but it's a new job. So I was like doing my best to just collect yourself, just pay attention. And I remember like they spoke about like the process in housing, and all I thought about was everything that happened with my mum, because she lived in a social house. Like we lived in a social house with her. And when she passed away, the same thing. They gave us like 14 to 21 days to get all her stuff out. And all I could think about was the house, everything in the house. And that's all I'm thinking about, like, since yesterday, just my old house. But it doesn't go away, unfortunately. I wish I could give better news on that.
Yeah.
It gets better, but it's easier, but I wouldn't say like the thought doesn't go away.
Yeah. And there's a few things that you said that I wanted to touch on. Firstly, obviously the emotion of losing someone, that will never go away. And I can definitely agree with that because I lost my grandmother from cancer. I would say, you know how you were saying you went and sought other religions and other stuff and all that kind of stuff to fill the void that you did have. Would you say that it has become easier, not that you've completely forgotten about your mum, but it's become easier having that journey with God, that he gives you that comfort and that peace?
I'd say yes, because I was into I don't know if this is too much. I was obviously like looking at the universal stuff as in like tarot, which I didn't realize was a very bad thing before. And I stopped it like ages before I started going to church and got baptized again. But when I had done the readings, like, I remember at first it was like, it was fun. It was funny, it was playful, it was whatever. But I was predicting stuff in my friends' lives because they came to me and asked me to read them, which was scaring me. And I felt like I was going into something that would get something bad latching itself onto me.
Yeah.
And that's what pushed me away from it. And even like, it didn't give me any reassurance with my mom though. I remember like, I sound silly saying this stuff, but like, I obviously like did like try giving myself readings about her and just like if she's in a good place, if she can hear me, anything like that. I remember they always said maybe. And I didn't understand the maybes until I started going to church, because every prayer I've asked for, or any maybe I got in my readings, including Daniel, they were all God.
Yeah.
Any yes and no, like, it was life. It was stuff that was going to happen, and maybe it was the enemy just sitting there waiting for me to get something bad. But no, going to God, I don't know, like, I think it was more like hearing about the story, like, with like the Gospels, that gave me more reassurance with everything, because Jesus is so sweet. He's such a beautiful person. And like, how they presented him even in The Chosen, or even like reading the Bible, like, he's just so loving. He's not there to hurt you. And I remember, like, with Lazarus's death, reading it, like, I could only imagine like how like his family would have been like, where's Jesus? Like, why doesn't he just raise him up already? Like, I obviously can't expect the same. Like, imagine if it was back in those days. Like, I would obviously be upset. I'd be so angry at Jesus. But it's understanding the timing and everything. You just have to trust God's time. And that was something that was very, very hard for me at the start. But it definitely did get better.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, with everything, he's hearing my crying.
Yeah. He does. Yeah.
He hears my cries. He hears my complaints. He hears me yapping on about him. He hears everything.
Yeah.
But he knows I'm not going anywhere. And I know that he's got me. I know, like, if I'm in any awkward or bad situation, that he's not putting me there on purpose. Like, he's not leaving me in that bad situation on purpose. There's a reason for it, and it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Which it has. So.
Yeah. And I think another thing that you said was, before you even started coming to church, you had like this mindset, oh, God like doesn't really know me. It's like I just was asking for my mom. Like I've done some bad stuff. Like how can he forgive me? Because I've also grown up in religion, not so much relationship with God. And I used to remember every time I would do something bad, I'd be like, oh my goodness, he's this big angry guy and he's going to punish me and I can never come
Like,
back
I
to
committed
him.
a sin.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that way as well. Like, oh, you can't go to God after you mess up, and you know, you got to do all these things to earn God's love and all this kind of stuff. And they forget that the grace and the mercy, what that is getting God's love when we don't deserve it. And even when we fall short, we're only human, so we are going to fall short. We're obviously going to do things that we're not supposed to do. But what's important, it even says in the Bible, to come boldly to his throne. It doesn't say, oh, come, you know, shaking your legs and stuff like that. And I think one thing I wanted to ask is, you coming from that mindset and now coming to the mindset of having a relationship with him and being able to come to him with your problems, do you still see him as this big angry guy, or do you see him in a completely different image?
No, he's a teddy bear to me.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he's God.
He can be a scary teddy bear too.
He can be a scary, like, the Old Testament shows how scary of a teddy bear he can be.
Yeah.
But he obviously sent Jesus down.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing how beautiful Jesus is, like, God's dad, like, he's Big G, he's our father, like, he's right there. He just wants us all to come home.
Yeah, 100%. And also, like, one thing, I was watching the King of Kings
The
movie that came out, and like, obviously I've seen Passion of the Christ, and that really got to me. But when I was watching King of the Kings, I think because it wasn't so gory, a lot of things just stood up to me. And I think one really beautiful thing is, we say that God doesn't feel the emotions that we feel, but he has felt he's felt rejection, he's felt loneliness, he's felt sadness. That's why
Jesus came down. He wanted to.
And so many people go like, oh, God doesn't know how I feel, but he has. Like, he's felt what we felt, and times 100.
For sure.
So I think, shining a light from the Gospels, like what he's gone through, like where he asked the disciples, please pray for me, please, like, pray with me, and they fell asleep. Like, that's the like loneliness. You feel that, like, it's a lonely road. And I do agree that everything happens in the right timing. Like, whatever God has planned in your life, even though there is bad things that happen, it's not to break you, but it's to build you and build your character and to make you resilient. And obviously I can see that today, but I can guarantee you who you are now compared to who you were a year ago, you would have never looked at this future self and be like, oh yeah, that's me. You would be like, no
Yeah.
way in hell. So it's very beautiful to see that you can openly talk about it and be vulnerable and share about it.
Yeah.
So before we end, the question I like to ask everyone, if anyone is going through an experience of having someone that's passed away, or someone that's angry at God and that blames God for everything, or like that is so filled with so much emotion where they're doing everything to numb the pain and not feel it, what would be your advice to them?
I'll be very blunt. It won't go away, but you need to trust him, because it's kind of like when you pray for strength, he's gonna chuck hard things at you, but then you get out of it and it's like, oh wow, I just did that. With this, like, I'm gonna miss her. I do miss her every day. And when her birthday rolls around, her anniversary rolls around, Christmas, her favorite holiday, like, rolls around, or even when I look at like my sisters, she's right there. And that's how I need to see her. And even when I talk to God about her, I can only hope that she's nagging him as well to keep an eye on me. But that's a hope thing.
Yeah.
God's judgment at the end of the day, which I'm not biased towards. But as long as, like, I think the big thing was knowing God and Jesus for me. Because getting to know Jesus and seeing everything that he kept doing in the Gospels to save us all, save us all, that's what made me like just completely submit into it. I was, yeah. So, I don't know. I guess the best thing I could say is like, it won't go away, but it's good to pray and be completely vulnerable with God. I have cried. I've done everything. Like, he's heard everything I've had to say. Even with close people, like, I'm not a crier. I do not like crying in front of people. Church, I get so awkward whenever I cry. Like, this one has like secretly gone and grabbed me tissues, and I'm there like, oh my goodness. But being vulnerable with him and just having those conversations with him has probably made everything so much easier for me. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you guys for joining. And I know we'll see you guys back on here to have another yap about something else. But yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you guys later. See ya.
Bye.